Marty, what have you seen with, obviously you spent a lot of time in Dallas and you've been around Jake Ottinger, just his growth, you look back on a couple years ago, his playoff run, how well he played, as a young guy, now it's like expectations are on you and how he's answered the bell here so far.
Yeah, he's been great. Um, and he's just got pedigree. He's a world-class goalie. Um, Probably more mentally than anything. Physically, he's got all the tools as well. So when the Jakester, in other battles hard, and his confidence. When he has confidence and he's at top of his crease and waiting on pucks and reading and reacting the way he can, he's just a generational goalie, and that confidence uses over. So his development's been fantastic, and he's this year has been the easiest with him. He didn't skate all last summer, just some nagging stuff, and so to see him really peaking right now is awesome for the Dallas Stars and our fan base. But he's cool, calm, collected guy, and sometimes you want more because he's so cool in there. But he's just is giving the guys a chance to win pretty much every night, and even though they came out like gangbusters, and we knew it was going to be up to him for maybe 5-10. Turned out to be it was 18 minutes, almost full first period. They just were rocking, and they gave us a chance by just keeping it at 2. So he made some timely saves in the second, and certainly down the stretch in the third. So his development's been great. Sky's the limit for this guy, and I only see him to keep climbing on the leaderboard for USA goalies as the Olympics come close.
Always about the response for sure, and we look forward to Game 4 again of the Western Conference Final. I wanted to ask you, obviously, about the Toronto Maple Leafs, this being Leafs Morning Take, and you talk about American netminders. How do you view Joseph Woll going into next season?
Well, I think this season proved a lot for him, from a confidence. And that position, immaturity is a big part of it too. And getting into the vacuum funnel of Toronto doesn't seem to have bothered him. And some people thrive in it. And he just might be the kid to, really take the reins. I know it's been a tough go lately, just in terms of finding that one definitive number one goaltender. Probably Anderson was the last one, and in my opinion, just to really take it, stay healthy, do it, and that's kind of part of it too. Part of the job is just being healthy and giving your team a chance. And now this day and age, a little different than my era. You still need two, and I think he's a great, a 1A. But I'm just excited for him to have off season, get in the gym, work on anything he needs to do physically. That only just helps you just add confidence come to the training camp. But he's good. He's fun to watch too, from my perspective. Not that really matters, but to me it does. And so I enjoy when he was on the ice and playing really well for the guys.
Yeah, and obviously that means something to me too, Marty. I grew up watching you, and I love the way you play, the way you handle the puck, something I prided myself on as well when I played. But, with the health and I think maturity, it comes, right? You learn how to stay healthy and be effective and be available for your team. But, for the Leafs, who would be like another guy you see? Because Samsonov kind of time has run out here. What would be like that 1B option here, like a veteran guy or someone you think that could fit to help push Woll, but also be available, kind of a break in case of emergency there, just in case Woll get hurt again?
Well, I mean, fortunately, there's a lot of good options out there, and I don't look any closer, you know, than our guy right here, Scott Wedgwood. He's a Ontario guy, Toronto dude. He played probably 9 of the best games in a row this season for us when Otter was out in the middle of the season. And, like you said, it's tough to carry the mail these days, and it's just hard the way the game's played. But, there's a bunch of options. You look around, the goaltending's in a great spot. Maybe not an upper echelon for the Canadian level as we want to see, but, still probably 2/3 or something like that. Our goalies in the NHL are Canadian. And so just finding the right one, that's a good mix. It's probably a good person. But most importantly, just battles in practice. And when I think of that, I just look at Wedgie. This guy pushes our guys to be better late in practices. He shows up every day. And when we need him to play, one every 6 days, or we need 10 in a row like we did this season, that's the kind of guy you find. And somebody that the guys love, trust, and don't have to worry about. Even though, the goaltenders were a little finicky at times. But I think the coolness of the position is really – attract a lot of great athletes, some big ones too, but also guys with just great demeanors. So I think Toronto's going to have a few options this summer to find that right pick.
for me, honestly, just the fact of like who they could find. I think a veteran guy, and you know, I'm not sure. Like, do you think like Joseph Wall has that upside like Ottinger though to be a bona fide stud, like to be the guy? You know, I know there's a lot of U.S. hockey, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he does. You know, it just takes a while for the most goalies to, you know, to find their way and get to that age and the maturity level to be like, okay, I can carry the mail. I just think his game is suited for it. I don't know well enough to say one way or the other, but I think just from a how he interacts, how he played this year in some really tough spots to give that team the boost that they needed. I thought that really bode well, but you know, I'd have to look a little deeper into the, you know, kind of personality offside and stuff of what he's doing. But I think from the surface, for me anyway, the game alone, yeah, I think he could be. You know, the way Jake Odger played that Calgary series that you guys were alluded to a couple years ago was crazy. It was probably the best goal thing I've ever seen. And I saw him after the series. I was like, I'm sorry, you're actually not supposed to have to play that good to give our team a chance to win, which was crazy how Calgary dominated us to see. You know, we had a good team too, but Jake just really kept us in there. So it was a lot of fun, and you know, he does have that pedigree, but it's just a lot of ups and downs. So you just got to avoid the downs and stay on the ups, right, and just ride that thing out. And I think that's what he can do.
Yeah, and I think the reality too, this setting in for Leafs Nation is just the importance on a homegrown talent. That's why the hope is there with like a Joseph Woll, because you know everybody wants a UC Saros, everybody wants a Linus Allmark, but those guys are just going to be so difficult, you know, to pick up in a trade. And I think it just puts priority in trying to find that guy in a draft and build him up the way they've done with the Dallas Stars and Jake Ottinger. And you're hoping Joseph Woll is that next guy. But I want to get your opinion on you know, the Maple Leafs and Craig Berube and what they've done the last little while after another disappointing first round exit here.
Yeah, you know, it's quite the conundrum, all those, you know, early exits with some high paid talent, you know, in the lineup. You know, I mean, I don't think Leaf Nations care, but it's worth saying again, like it's the hardest it's ever been come playoff time, 32 teams, all pretty good. 16 only make the tournament. I mean, they got some tough draws over there in the East, and it's not an excuse. It's just the truth. But I think Craig Berube is a wonderful coach. I think he brings a little bit of old schoolness to him. I think he'll be pretty direct with the players of the expectations, which I know, you know, Sheldon probably was at times, but I think he needs to be a little heavy-handed when it comes down to effort and execution. And, you know, there's things I see in the playoffs that would just, you know, I think of Ken Hitchcock and Dave Tippett. I'm like, they would lose their marbles, you know, like lost matchups or just coasting, getting off the ice and just not being ready. And, you know, simple little things. And then the game is at a high speed. I get it, but you got to take care of what you can, you know, the little things that really matter. And that just gives you better players a way better chance of success. And so I really do think that Craig's a great guy, a great coach, you know, played a sling, real tough way for a long time. And he's going to bring some of that, you know, some of that moxie to the locker room, but also hold people accountable. I think that's been his MO. You watch the way the Blues played the last couple of years. They're tough to play against and maybe not the best talent in the world, but they brought it every night. And hopefully, I think for Leaf Nation, that's kind of what you'll see is that there's not going to be as many nights off with the Leafs. And so hopefully that's the way.
Yeah, no, I agree, Marty. And I think that's something that's important, right? Like the non-negotiables of hockey, right? That's something I think as winning teams that I've been on, playoff teams are, you got to buy into what you need to do. And a guy that has struggled, you know, he's been a phenom of a player, but come playoff time, Mitch Marner just kind of seems to disappear. He kind of fades into the playoffs. So, you know, there's a lot of hype around it. There's a lot of talk. What's your take on Mitch Marner? Is that a guy you trade away or is it a guy that you keep and sign here? Because there's been a lot of talk about Mitch.
Yeah, you know, I think if you could keep him, it would be fantastic. He's just too talented. He gets them in the playoffs every year. You need those points. You need the skill. And, you know, unfortunately for him and the, you know, Leafs that the sampling's just been too short, right? And I think it's just hard in the first round. It's just such a intense series. And that's not his style. You know, you need to give him chances and, you know, in the overtimes and just a better sampling size, really. But he's all world. He's so gifted. playoffs gets a little tougher. They lean on, you know, the guys who don't play that as hard nosed, so it makes it harder on them. You know, it's the same case for Robertson. But boom, look at, you know, for our 10th win of the playoffs, you know, he had a great game. And sometimes you got to, we have a really deep lineup, and that's kind of part of our success as Stars. And so, you know, Leafs had a little bit more help on the back end where he just gets the matchups right and they go hard at him. And it's difficult. And so we get it. He's going to have to go buzz through that sometimes. But, you know, there's not too many Mitch Marners laying around. It's kind of the way I look at it.
Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Roseau. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.